I'm the Gangster nerd. And if you're like me, you like to keep up with professional wrestling. Recently, you may have heard that Sammy Guevara was going to go over to Impact and be part of Decay, but he turned it down. And that's a good idea, because he's not compatible with Decay. I bet you also heard that he pitched an idea at Impact for him to go over, win the X Division title, come back to AEW, be Raw heel, get hated, refuse to defend the title, and then lose it back at a pay-per-view. And I'm glad Impact turned it down, because I can do that better. Alright, little ground rule off the beginning. This starts 3 weeks out before Sacrifice and culminates at Slammiversary in June. I know it's not usually in June. Alright, so everything is as it is now. Sammy has quit the Inner Circle. He shows up on Impact. We're 3 weeks out from Sacrifice. We're at Impact. Sammy Guevara shows up. He's walking around. He bumps into TJP. He's like, "What's up, TJP?" TJP's like, "What are you doing here?" And then Sammy explains, "I'm looking for direction. I'm leaving the Inner Circle behind. Blah, blah, blah." That night, TJP will have an X Division match with anybody. Suicide, Willie Mack, don't matter. Sammy will come to the ring with TJP and, just be out there. During this match, though, Ace Austin, who's rivaling with TJP for the X Division title, comes down and tries to get a cheap shot in, but Sammy's there, and he fights him off, right? Later that same night, we'll see Ace Austin pay Hernandez to attack Sammy. 2 weeks out from Sacrifice, we're at a Tuesday Night Impact. Okay, TJP has another match against somebody in the X Division, Sammy Guevara at ringside. Alright, during this match, Hernandez comes down and makes his move on Sammy Guevara, starts pummeling him, right? TJP comes out, fights off Hernandez, and saves Sammy, manages to get back in the ring and win the match, right? Everybody wins, everybody's happy. Now, because of everything that happened with those 2 nights, this sets us up for Ace Austin versus Sammy Guevara on a taping. Later on that same night, Sammy gets in a fist fight backstage with Ace Austin. But during this fight, he takes a fall and, kayfabe injures his head. Alright, we get to Sacrifice. Hey, Sammy's there. Even though he's injured, it's important. He sees TJP, and TJP's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I ain't letting you go in alone. I got your back, because you never know what Ace Austin is up to." Later on that same night, though, we see Hernandez just pummel Sammy, seemingly out of nowhere and for no reason. Just really lays it into him. Alright? This sets up that TJP has to go it alone against Ace Austin. So then we get to the match. It's a barn burner. It is classic. Like a 30-minute, good, solid match where both guys look really strong, but TJP is winning. He has the momentum. Alright? At the 30-minute part, we're going to go into the finish. Madman Fulton jumps up on the apron because he came with Ace Austin. He's got the ref distracted. Out of nowhere, Sammy Guevara runs in, kicks TJP between the legs, double DDT right down on the mat, picks up Ace Austin, sets him on it. Fulton is able to turn the ref around. 1, 2, 3, we got a new X Division champion. And now, Sammy looks like the villain. We shoot to the next Impact, right? Some point during the night, Ace Austin comes out with Madman Fulton, and they're cutting a promo about this is great. And guess who thought the whole thing up? Sammy. Then, Sammy will come down, and they're just in the ring gloating about how great they are and how smart this was. Sammy Guevara seems like he wants to roll with Ace Austin and Madman Fulton now. Scott D'Amore comes out and informs Ace Austin that he has a rematch with TJP, which Ace ain't thrilled about, but then go, "Yeah, I'm Ace Austin, I'll win." Scott D'Amore says the rematch will be tonight on Impact. And then he wants to make it even better. He's like, "Nobody at ringside because of what just happened at Sacrifice." This is smart. Right, well, we get to that night. TJP versus Ace Austin. They're battling. Again, another great match. Sammy has hid as a cameraman. Now, during the match, TJP throws Ace Austin out, right? And he gets up, the ref's doing the count. Nobody knows it, but Sammy comes up with the camera, nails him, right? Ace Austin goes down, he gets counted out. TJP wins the match, but Ace Austin retains the title. Next week's Impact, Scott D'Amore comes out and says Sammy Guevara needs to get out of Impact's business. He's not an Impact wrestler. Sammy will come out, cutting a promo right back at Scott saying he's better than anybody in the X division. He's proving it. He's done put down TJP. He puts down Ace Austin like he really did something, but they were both cheap shots. He wants to know why Scott D'Amore doesn't get it. Scott D'Amore is like, okay, well, I'll tell you what. You want a shot at the X Division title? We'll put you in a qualifier match. You got to become the #1 contender. And Sammy's like, I can take anybody, don't matter. So Scott D'Amore books him in a 3-way match against Black Taurus and Madman Fulton. Now we get to the match. And Black Taurus and Madman Fulton beat the living daylights out of Sammy during this match, right? It's going to happen. He's so much smaller. This is the wink and the nod for the people that know about the Decay storyline. Also, it makes sense with Madman Fulton because that's Ace Austin's homie. So, like I said, they're pummeling Sammy Guevara. At some point or another, Sammy gets thrown out of the ring. This allows Black Taurus and Madman Fulton to now turn on each other and start fighting. As we go, Black Taurus is going to run, try and move off the top rope, but Madman Fulton's going to grab the ref and pull him in front of him. Taurus will clobber the ref. Fulton goes down too. Now, Black Taurus is trying to get up the ref. This allows Sammy Guevara to come in, blatant low blow on Black Taurus, and then another finish, like 450 splash, something along those lines, on Madman Fulton. 1, 2, 3, he steals this one. Now since this happened, Decay runs down to the ring. They're going to try and jump Sammy because he just got over on Black Taurus. However, Sammy all slick gets out of there before anybody can get to him, right? And he's coming up the aisle like, yeah, y'all can't get me. And then Ace Austin attacks him from behind, grabs him, throws him back into the ring into Decay, and we basically see Decay tear into Sammy. And that's the closing scene. We get to the next Tuesday night taping of Impact. Scott D'Amore is cutting the promo that Sammy Guevara does not work for Impact. He keeps skirting all our rules, and this just isn't going to work. He's decided Sammy doesn't get a title shot. If Sammy wants another title shot, he has to beat TJP and Ace Austin in a 3-way, no DQ match that night. Keeping everybody relative, in my opinion. We get to the match that night. It's a 3-way, and basically TJP and Ace Austin beat the daylights out of Sammy. Every move you can think of, it's like a tag team match against one guy. Eventually, though, they're going to turn on each other because they want to win the match. It's a no DQ match, so Sammy eventually stirs, goes out, gets the X Division title, plants Ace Austin, plants TJP. We could say TJP is about to do a finish to Ace Austin, and then that's when Sammy gets him with the title out of nowhere. Plants Ace Austin on it for good measure. 1, 2, 3. He stole yet another one. Now we're talking a busted, beat up Sammy wins yet another thing. Now all this has led to Sammy being the #1 contender for the Ace Austin X Division title. Due to this match, Sammy won't be cleared until Rebellion. But by extension, Ace Austin can't defend the title until Rebellion. Alright, so we're at the next week's Impact taping. Sammy Guevara can't wrestle, but he's still there. He comes out and cuts a promo. He talks about, I'm the hottest Impact wrestler right now, and I'm not an Impact wrestler. How much better he is, blah, 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 that stuff. And if you think he's just going to sit around, well, you're sadly mistaken. Alright, later that same night, we see Hernandez attack Ace Austin, pummel him, without rhyme or reason. Now, it's not major damage, it's minor. Madman Fulton is able to fight him off. Later on that same night, we see Sammy pay off Hernandez. So there's that. Next week's Impact, we're 1 week before Rebellion. Scott D'Amore comes out and bans Sammy from being at Impact. He's like, no, you're not allowed to be here. You're just bad news. Seems clever, right? On the TNT commercial, what I call Tony and Tony, on their commercial for AEW on Impact, Sammy Guevara's in the commercial. And it's the generic Tony Khan talking about how much better AEW is than Impact. It's good, but it keeps everybody seeing Sammy. We get to Rebellion. Early in the night, Scott D'Amore will cut the promo saying, Ace Austin and Sammy Guevara are both capable of anything, So, since an Impact title is on the line tonight, full ringside ban. Nobody there. He's going to verify the cameraman. He's going to verify the bell guy and the timekeeper. Everybody is going to be who they're supposed to be in order to be there. Madman Fulton is banned from ringside. They're going to go find Hernandez and make sure he hasn't been paid. Also, before the match, Tony Khan will have another commercial during the pay-per-view. In it, him and Tony Schiavone are going to be walking around the Impact venue, right? But on the crowd side. While they're walking around, they're going to get near the timekeeper and the announcer's table. Tony Schiavone is going to be plugging something coming up on AEW. We'll see Tony Khan kind of stumble, right? And he'll go bend over, and then he'll straighten back up and be like, sorry, I had to fix my shoes. Now, they're right by the timekeeper's table. That's important. Keep that in mind. We're at the match. Sammy Guevara versus Ace Austin for the X Division Championship. And in a perfect world, it's a 5-star match. Heel versus heel. They're both flying everywhere. They're hitting really good, solid moves. It's very competitive, but we want Ace Austin to be the dominant force in the match. To be the guy winning, as it were. Now the finish to that match. They're going. Ace has him down. He's beating on him. He throws him outside, right? He gets outside with him. Hard punch. Throws Sammy at the ring table, right? Sammy hits hard. Rolls over the ref. And then Ace turns around and is gloating like, yep, I'm great. I'm doing it. Well, at this time, Sammy's going to look and see like an AEW shirt or like an expensive shoe. Something that we know Tony Khan left for him. And inside of it is a taped up set of knuckles for an object. Ace Austin picks up Sammy, runs him back into the ring, and then he's outside the ring like, yep, I'm the best. He gets into the ring, he gets Sammy up, but Sammy just kicks him right between the legs, puts him down with the low blow, then with the object, knocks him out one punch. Ace goes down, Sammy pins him, 1, 2, 3, we have a new X Division champion.
Hopefully this is a good enough start. This is only the first half. We've still got to book Sammy all the way to Slammiversary and then get the title back off of him. So, if you come back tomorrow, I'll tell you how I'm going to do that. I'm Walt, the most gangster nerd on YouTube, and I'll be seeing you soon enough.